University of Georgia. Everybody knows the tradition of their team. They got great players at every position.
The scouting report from the coach of the North Carolina Tar Heels, Larry Fedora, his name, 905. Classic Center today, Tim Bryant, Jennifer Pointer, talking some football. Now, the really important stuff, we're just hours away from the kickoff of the 2016 season and the start of the Kirby Smart era. The Dogs, the North Carolina Tar Heels, 5:30 Saturday afternoon, the Georgia Dome in Atlanta. He covers the Tar Heels. He joins us now. John McCann, the Durham Herald-Sun. John McCann, thanks for your time this morning.
Good morning, guys.
Where are we now in terms of North Carolina and football at North Carolina? Obviously, you say North Carolina, you think about the basketball program. Where is North Carolina? We know they have good teams from time to time. In terms of building a program, in terms of making a dent and being noticed in September and October, where's the football program in North Carolina?
Certainly around here in the state, you would have to think or begin to be getting the impression that the University of North Carolina Chapel Hill is not just a basketball school. It's not just a school built by Dean Smith and Michael Jordan. Obviously, by you asking the question, I guess that hasn't resonated outside of North Carolina. But very easy to say around here. I mean, we're pretty much the cream of the crop. I shouldn't say we're. They are. North Carolina is the cream of the crop in the state right now.
And played Clemson, who played Alabama a pretty good game at the championship game last year. Folks want to go back that far. The ACC championship game there in Charlotte might have been the first look a lot of us really had at the athleticism on a North Carolina football team that was able to go toe-to-toe for a while with a very good Clemson team. That's the thing that struck me as I watched North Carolina just roll off win after win after win last year, that horrible season-opening loss to a very bad South Carolina team, and then just basically run the table, is that Carolina athletically looks like they now start to belong in that upper echelon. They're starting to get that type of player. Am I reading that correctly?
You got a good read on it. And the thing you got to keep in mind is that UNC has been hurt over the years because of that academic scandal. And that certainly scared a lot of players away. And Coach Larry Fedora will tell you as much. It hurt recruiting, and other coaches were using that to recruit against UNC. Even still, they have been able to attract quality athletes, and a lot of those athletes that you saw, that you referenced, playing against Clemson last season, playing very well. And if you think about it, it wasn't a blowout. UNC was right there in that game. A lot of those athletes come back, minus one glaring thing would be quarterback Marquise Williams, who graduated, and if he hadn't been cut, is in camp with the Green Bay Packers. He was a playmaker. He could get it done with his legs. He could get it done through the air. The new guy, Mitch Trubisky, he's got some experience. I mean, he's been thrown into the fire plenty of times over his career, but he's done it in a backup role. So it's going to be interesting to see on Saturday, can he play with that same type of poise or moxie? Can he play with that, with the mantle of being the starter and all the pressure that comes with that?
John McCann, the Durham Herald-Sun, covering the Tar Heels. It occurs to me, too, and it occurs to a lot of folks, this is not a novel suggestion on my part, that if you're Larry Fedora, and if you're especially Gene Chizik, defensive coordinator for the North Carolina Tar Heels, I don't know what you're preparing for. I don't know what you're doing. What are you looking at? We don't know, as folks who watch the Bulldogs, what we're going to see, especially offensively tomorrow. And what's Gene Chizik trying to prepare for?
Well, they're not worried about that. They know Nick Chubb is going to play. There have been some doubt about that. But even if Nick Chubb didn't play, there's Sony Michel, who got the job done pretty well last year as well. We found out who the quarterback was going to be yesterday. But even if none of that stuff was known, even if UNC went into the Georgia Dome with those two things, and as you know, there's a lot of what ifs on the depth chart for Georgia. Minus all of that, UNC is talking in terms of we're preparing to go out and execute our scheme. So no matter who is under center, no matter who is in the backfield, we're going to go out there with a 4-3 defense and getting ready to take it to you and hopefully do much better against the run than we did last season.
Yeah, that was the Achilles heel last year, that people could run against North Carolina. And as you mentioned, Nick Chubb, we don't know about Sony Michel. We're hearing good stuff about Evander Holyfield's kid out there. Point being that, Grayson Lambert's main job is going to be to hand the ball to one of those guys, and that's where North Carolina really suffered last year. Any thought that has improved this year? I guess we all find out. Get an answer to that question tomorrow.
Yeah, you talk about it being an Achilles heel, man. I think that was an Achilles heel injury on both legs of the Tar Heels, man, and coupled with ACL injuries and everything else. The emphasis over the summer was, clearly we got to shore up our run defense because after Clemson put it on them, the next game for UNC was that bowl game in Orlando, the Russell Athletic Bowl, and you saw Baylor roll up 645, not total yards of offense, just rushing yards. So that was glaring, and UNC lost a great core of linebackers and Jeff Schottmer and Shaquille Rashad, both guys who made it to NFL camps. And so they bring some guys back who are more athletic than those two, but can they replace the leadership and just understanding all of the nuances that the older guys, the guys who graduated, that they left. UNC has a great defensive backfield. 3 of the 4 starters come back. The guy that's replacing the defensive back who left, he actually used to be a starter. So they're solid in defensive backfield. Can UNC's defensive line get the job done? There was some patchwork last season with defensive line coach Trey Scott having to kind of piece together some things with guys getting injured. So if UNC can hold things down up front, they may be able to execute better. To more specifically answer your question, what have they done over the summer? Well, last season, keep in mind, was Gene Chizik's first year as a defensive coordinator. And so the talk was, listen, they just ran a very base, vanilla defense. They didn't put in a whole lot of nuances and intricacies. And so now with 1 year under their belts, Gene Chizik in the offseason has been able to add to it and make some things more complex. And because now guys aren't just, they understand why they're doing what they're doing. And the concept is that they understand why they're lined up in a certain way. They're going to play faster. And as you hear the old mantra talked, guys who play fast football play better football.
Finally, let's go on this one. John McCann, the Durham Herald-Sun. Fill in the blank quickly here, about 30 seconds. North Carolina will win if
they can stop the run, they'll win the game. They'll be in good shape. Their offense is going to put up enough points with a great running back in Elijah Hood, a very, very experienced offensive line and wide receivers who established themselves over the years. Mr. Trubisky, he should be okay. He's said to have a better, more accurate arm than Marquise Williams. So if UNC can stop the run, I think they're going to get out of your territory with a win.
All right, we'll see how things shakes out. John McCann, Durham Herald-Sun. Thanks for your time this morning.
Not a problem.